Good evening and welcome to another edition of the East Idaho Prepcast on IdahoSports.com, where we break down all the top stories from Districts 5 and 6 of East Idaho High School athletics. This show is brought to you by Ideal, a state-sponsored tax advantage savings plan that helps families pay for the cost of college. An Ideal 529 account can be used towards higher education, a trade school apprenticeship, or even student loan repayments. For more information, go to idsavings.org. My name is Joel Richardson. Let's bring in my co-host, Mr. Sean Kane. Yep, there he is right there. Sean, it's Monday night. Last time I checked, the Lions were demolishing the Buccaneers. Has that changed? I haven't checked in the last hour.
I think
I'm springing this on you.
The game's Houston. Oh, there's two games.
There were two games. Yeah, we're doing two games the last few weeks. And the first game was Detroit Buccaneers, and the second game is Houston and somebody else.
Detroit, no one cares.
Right? Exactly, Mr. Bears fan.
I got Houston. Houston and Seattle might be over here. Here. But quite frankly, I was stringing tennis rackets this evening, and I forgot there was even football on. The Bears won. I can get through my Sunday, get things done, and Monday. So to ask me to do a little more, Joel, I don't know if I'm quite there yet.
That's okay. Hey, Mr. Tennis Coach won, a myriad of state championships. He's locked in, man. Always locked in, Mr. Sean Kane, the Century High School tennis coach. Sean, well, hey, speaking of championships, let's go into we had district championships for soccer this last week. A number of interesting results. Some of them went chalk for sure. I guess most of them went chalk, but some very interesting ones. We're going to talk through all of those while talking through the state brackets that we have up now. So let's start with 4A girls. Maybe not the most interesting storyline going into this, but in terms of, interesting results. But dude, Sugar-Salem, number one, Taylor's oldest time, not losing much, if at all, this year. They are the number one seed. But another story, number 3, Marsh Valley, number 6, American Falls, who just played each other this last week, and they play each other again.
Yeah, and this might be the theme of the episode. We play again because we're going to see it in some other brackets too. But
right,
yeah, Sugar-Salem averaging 9 goals, something unreal through the season. Scott Terry, he coaches both boys and girls. He just said how this is maybe the most consistent team he's had. And they've had teams that have been pretty consistent, I would say. But
right,
Sugar, the odds on favor. But like you said, look at that bottom half of the bracket. If if you're at home, make sure you make this big so you can see it. Also, all the brackets and soccer coverages on IdahoSports.com. They'll have photos, brackets, write-ups, different things for the state tournament that's coming up this weekend. But Marsh Valley, American Falls, right? They just played. I think they split the regular season too. If you wanted and we got Max Preps, all right? So Max Preps, right. Marsh Valley 3, American Falls 6. But American Falls 1 districts. It's kind of, and Marsh Valley had to play against McCall to get there. But they get the higher seed and have to play, their biggest rival of the season in the first round. So, I mean, what do we know? I think if you picked American Falls and they won, you'd be like, okay, 6-3. I think you throw the seeds out the door. It's two teams that have went back and forth all season.
Yep.
I don't know, Joel. I don't even know what to say. It's just that's the only bad thing I see about Max Prep sometimes is you get those repeats of district opponents. And that's where I kind of think you need a rule that you shouldn't play your same district first round. And after a first round, I'd be fine with, but I don't know why you couldn't switch the 6 and the 5. I personally, but that's just me, because in tennis we would do that. We don't allow same district to play first round in tennis. I don't understand why that happens in soccer. It seems it doesn't make any sense to drive all the way to Meridian High School to play the team you just played your backdoor steps.
Yeah, and I think with American Falls coming into this thing, with the girls, they're 6-2, 13-4 overall. You mentioned Marsh Valley. Yeah, they beat Marsh Valley in the tournament, and now they have Marsh Valley in that first round. They lost to Marsh Valley 8-2 early on in the season, and then before that they lost to them 0-5. So, Marsh Valley is scoring 13 goals on you. You're only getting in 2, but you win when it matters, Sean. They got them 1-0 in the tournament. But still, even though they won, even though they won the tournament, they're number 6. I think American Falls might be the most dangerous number 6 amongst all the classifications. I'm very curious to see how this one goes. Last year, American Falls fell early on in the tournament. So I know coach is going to have them ready for this one. The girls are going to be excited, but Marsh Valley is also licking their chops and getting some revenge in this game. You already mentioned Sugar-Salem. Do you have between Sugar, Marsh, American Falls, Sean? Do you have a dark horse among those 3 East Idaho teams, or a favorite? I should say. Let's do a favorite on this one.
Well,
who's your favorite?
Obviously, Sugar-Salem's my favorite.
Okay, all right.
Scott Terry, one of the best in the business coaches up there in Diggerland. My dark horse would have been American Falls, right? They win districts. They come in as a low seed. But them playing Marsh Valley, it's hard to pick that matchup. A team like Sun Valley Community School is usually like the number 1 seed until Sugar's kind of taking the reins on that,
right? And
so that's a team that I'd be interested in. And then how about Kimberly? Kimberly's a team. They're the number 2 ranked team. And I wouldn't say I'm any expert, but I wouldn't say Kimberly's been a high ranked team in girls soccer for a while. So a number 2 seed, but kind of a dark horse number 2 seed. But it'll be hard, really, I think, for anyone to take down the Sugar team. But that's why I play the games.
Yeah, for sure. I think if Kimberly beats CDA Charter, and they should, I think Marsh Valley or American Falls could take Kimberly. I think one of those East Idaho teams wins that game, but we'll see. We'll see Friday. The games start Friday out there in Meridian High School. Let's go to 5A bracket, Sean. What sticks out to you in this 5A bracket with Hillcrest, Skyline, and Pocatello all making it to the 5A state tournament?
Hey, I'm gonna go Hillcrest. They are the 1 seed. They're a team that's playing really well. Brindley Nelson, phenomenal player. They just have a lot of weapons. So I do like Hillcrest. Now, Sandpoint's an interesting number 8. Now, let's not forget Sandpoint isn't far removed from having, there was always Sandpoint, Bishop Kelly in the 4A, which is now 5A brackets. So watch out for a dangerous Sandpoint team. But yeah, my eyes on Hillcrest. I think Skyline's a good team as well. And then Pocatello, they're the defending champs, Joel.
Right.
And they're down.
And they returned a few players too.
And they're down all the way at a number 7. Now they did play Twin Falls, and they did lose to Twin Falls. I think it was 0-4 earlier in the season. So this will be a tough matchup for the Thunder first round. I would have liked the Thunder to get someone they hadn't already played, to be honest with you. But it'll be fun to see. It's hard to beat a team multiple times, especially in soccer, right? You can just stretch that timeout, make it come down to errors, and there's a lot of different techniques you can use, coaching things in soccer to extend that game, and maybe Pocatello will have something up their sleeve to get Twin back this time.
Yeah. You mentioned that Twin Falls game back in September 20th. They lost 1-4, and then before that, I think it was 1-4. Yeah, both games were 1-4, September 2nd and September 10th. So, can you beat a team 3 times in a row? It's hard in any sport, especially soccer. So, good luck, Twin Falls. I think you're right. Number 1, Hillcrest had a massive season. They won the district. They beat Skyline, who is still in it, right, as the number 3 seed. But it'll be interesting how Skyline does against Valley View. Valley View, historically good soccer school. I think Valley View could be a dark horse, but you know what? They're not East Idaho, so we don't care about them. We care about them a little bit. But watch for Skyline to upset, or Valley View to, quote, upset Skyline, but hopefully Skyline does well. Yeah, maybe Pocatello can get that third game. But congrats to Hillcrest, congrats to Pokey for being district champions and punching their ticket to state. Let's hit 6A girls. What stands out to you here, Sean? You got number 8 Rigby, number 6 Highland, and that's it, man. And you saw that playing game there where Eagle took Lake City 1-0 to play number 2 Rocky Mountain. But what stands out to you between Rigby and Highland?
I think what stands out a lot is Rigby's the 5th seed in this tournament, and they come all the way back to win, and beat Canyon Ridge, which is the 2nd seed. So Rigby, I think a team that started hot, kind of, maybe kind of fizzled. I don't know what the word is, but hey, when it mattered, they made it to state. So, they've got a tall task against a very talented Timberline team, but I find it very interesting, that Rigby made it after being the 5th seed in the district tournament. And then let's go Highland. Highland beats Canyon Ridge, the number 2 seed, 8-0 in the district championship, Joel. And I don't think I saw that coming. I know some Canyon Ridge folk. I know someone who plays on that team, and they felt like they were maybe had a shot to kind of win this district and win it and then leave it, right? Because they're moving back down. But that won't be the story. And Canyon Ridge doesn't even make it. But to me, can Highland beat a Boise?
That's the question.
Can Highland beat a team? Because Highland wins the district, has a great season, but their seed is. It's hard to think you're a district champion and you're a 6th seed. To me.
Well, and I agree, but you look at their strength of schedule against Mountain View, they lost 3-4, so like a good showing there, but they still lost to a Boise school. Timberline out in Boise, they lost 0-4, and those are some of their 2 bigger games. They lost to Bishop Kelly 0-1, another big game there. They beat Canyon Ridge a few times. They beat Rigby 7-0. So I think the strength of schedule is what hurts them. And even with their strength of schedule, they lost to those 2 Boise teams. And Mountain View is the number 4 seed. They're there. And Timberline is the number 1 seed. So Highland can say, hey, even though we lost Mountain View, Timberline, we're back at it. And they can get another shot at them if they can beat Boise first round. But I wonder if that seed is so low because they only played a couple really strong schools and they lost to them.
Yeah, and I remember talking about this early in the season. Like, I like that Highland scheduled these teams, right?
Agreed.
I like that they had these teams on the schedule. Now, does that hurt the ranking? Maybe it's hard to say at the start of the year because maybe just playing them would have gave them a boost, right? You never know how the year is going to pan out. But at least they know. And the SIC tournament, all the brackets, right? If you want to go check out all the brackets are on IdahoSports.com. They're kind of fun to go through after everything's said and done. The SIC bracket was kind of not all the seat. It wasn't chalk. Like it went all over. But then it doesn't matter, right? Because then we reseeded according to Max Prep. So like, even if you don't win districts and you're the number 1 Max Prep team, you're still going to get a high spot. You know what I mean? So it's
sure.
There's some, it's interesting, right? I like that you get an opportunity and a chance to still go, but then to reseed it, that's where I kind of like football and some other sports where like, if you win districts, you get one of those spots that are considered higher. But soccer right now, it's just like basketball. It's a total Max Prep reseeding once districts are done. But yeah, it'd be nice to see Highland go up and take care of a Boise team. And I think that'll be the theme when we get to boys 6A. Is there a team that we think, and I think I don't know if this is my 5th year doing this podcast, but I feel like it's a common thread. Like, yes, 6A soccer, we will have good teams, but are they good enough? Are they at the level to beat these top teams? There seems to be some tiers of levels here, and it's difficult. But like I said, soccer, you get 1 or 2 things go your way, or you just hold out and get to PKs or whatever it is.
Right.
I mean, soccer isn't just black and white. Like, my running back's better. It's who can play better for 90 minutes.
Well, let's go into boys soccer with 6A. We were just talking about it. There were a couple of transitions there, Sean. You almost gave me the 4A boys transition. But we're going to do the 6A one instead. And then we'll eventually get to that storyline of PKs, and you never know what's going to happen. Even between a 7 seed and a 2 seed, or 8 seed and 1 seed. So let's do boys 6A. What sticks out to you with Thunder Ridge and Canyon Ridge? The only ones from East Idaho.
They play each other, right? So we talked about this.
Don't love that. First off,
no, it's just so, it's just so funky to me to think you have Thunder Ridge. They're an 8-time 8-peat district champions. They're to state. Canyon Ridge knocks off 2nd seed Highland in PKs to go, right?
right.
Highland was I would say the favorite to be the 2nd team to go all year, right? They had some different players transfer to that school. Highland was set to really, I think, they were thinking they would be at state. Well, Canyon Ridge takes care of business, gets there, and what's the reward? They get to play Thunder Ridge for the 18th time. That's tough. But here what I do like is Thunder Ridge is the number 2 seed. I think they were 1 last year. They don't have to play a Boise team right off the back. So I like that. I like where Thunder Ridge is on the bracket. So Thunder Ridge knows they're capable of beating a Canyon Ridge. And then, Mountain View, Caldwell, who's moved up, right? I like Thunder Ridge bracket. So is it time for Thunder Ridge to make it to a championship game? I feel like this is the best bracket they could have gotten.
100% agree. We said him at the beginning of the season, is this the year where Thunder Ridge can kind of get off the schneid in terms of playing these really good Boise soccer teams at the state tournament? Thunder Ridge got to the state tournament, and they have an amazing side of the bracket. I think Thunder Ridge, man, I sure hope this is their year, because I'm so tired of seeing a good Thunder Ridge team go up against even better Boise teams and go out the first round. I think Thunder Ridge is better than that. And this is their chance to do it against a 3 and a 6 and a 7. So obviously hope Canyon Ridge does well, but I'm not going to lie, pulling for Thunder Ridge because they've been here so many times. What was this? Their 8th district championship, district title, 8th year in a row. Thunder Ridge, man, these kids, these coaches, they've been so close. So I'm really pulling for them to do well at the state tournament. I think this is a really favorable bracket for them. Hey, Sam Buffington mentioning back to the girls. Let's hit that just really quick. Since Sam bothered to take some time and join us, he says, I said it'll be a Timberline Rocky State title. Sam, those are that's a very
way to reach deep. Way to reach deep.
That's a scary take, Sam. And he says in girls for sure. No, I think Timberline and Rocky are obviously great soccer schools, and you see the seeds there for those. But man, if you wanted a dark horse, obviously we really hope Highland girls do well. Rigby's trending in the right direction, but yeah, that's always the question. Will the Boise schools give up any space to the East Idaho, North and North Idaho schools?
I'll say
Boise, I don't know, girls. Man. I don't know.
I'll say Boise girls right here.
Okay, all right, Boise girls here from Sean.
That's right, Sam. I'm not going chalk, buddy. I'm gonna Boise girls had a good run the district tournament. I think that's a team you've got a 3rd seed, right? Because their strength schedule is better, but that's a team you got to watch out for.
For sure. So I appreciate Sam chiming in, even if it was a 1-2 prediction. All right, and that's 6A boys soccer. Good luck to them this weekend at Eagle High School. They'll be playing, and especially good luck to Thunder Ridge and Canyon Ridge. But again, really pulling for Thunder Ridge to get over the schneid of the state tournament. 1 and dones. I guess 2 and dones. 5A, Sean, what sticks out to you? We got 8 Pocatello, number 4 seed Twin Falls, number 5 Blackfoot. And then number 6, Skyline. Lots of East Idaho representation in this one.
Yeah, and the question you got to ask yourself is, where is Idaho Falls, Joel?
Jeez. Dude, Idaho Falls with an amazing season. Really, really great season.
The number ranked 3rd team in Max Preps, right?
Yeah.
Idaho Falls.
Blackfoot 3-0 over Idaho Falls for the district title and for a berth to state, and then IF drops it against what I think it was Skyline, right?
Yep.
And as a 1 seed in the district tournament, like you said, a 3 seed overall would have been where they were top 3 in 5A. They don't make it. Heartbreaking for Idaho Falls fans.
Yeah, that's tough. They would have had a great opportunity. They'd have been that 3rd spot. That would have completely changed the landscape of the bracket. But they had an opportunity. They didn't get it done. Congrats to Blackfoot, a team. I think I was high in at the start, and I kind of thought they were good, but then Idaho Falls was doing well. Hillcrest Boys as well, another team that's not there, and then Skyline, a team we probably didn't hit on enough. But yeah, Blackfoot, what a job to get to state and win that district championship, and yeah, phenomenal. So they're rewarded with the 5 seed, and a matchup against Twin Falls is really good. But we'd be remiss if we didn't talk about, the Pocatello Thunder, right, Joel? They haven't been to state in something like 19 years. They take down Century in a double overtime goal and punch their ticket. Unfortunately, they have a low max preps, and they're going to play Valley View, which many people would say they are the odds-on favorite to win. They were very good last year as well, but the Thunder making it, hey, congrats to their coach and players for getting there. It's been a long time.
It has been. An interesting story coming out of the Poky Thunder boys soccer team. Sean, they didn't have a coach early on in the season. The boys were running their own practices. They finally got a coach to come over. I think he was coaching some of the boys at the Portland Valley Soccer Club. They pull him over to coach for them, and all they did was win the games they needed to win, including that double overtime dub. That goal was actually scored by Kevin Porter. He's a junior. He actually plays on the Portland Valley rugby team as well. But yeah, that golden goal, like you said, Sean, massive goal. I saw a video of the foul. I'm not going to lie, Sean, there wasn't much there, but but that's how it goes. Sometimes the calls go your way, the calls go your way. Sometimes the calls don't go your way, and then you got to take advantage of them when they do go your way. And it was an amazing kick. I wasn't able to pull up the video, but saw the video of the bending kick, top left-hand corner, right over the goalie. I honestly, that you couldn't have planned it better with that kind of bend it like Beckham shot from Kevin Porter. So hey, you take advantage of the opportunities, and they did so. They are going to state for the first time, like you said, 19 years, but unfortunately they have to play number 1 Valley View, who we mentioned. Valley View is a soccer school. They're awesome in soccer, fun team to watch. And Pocatello has their hands full. And look, even if you lose, love the consolation side. Pocatello can still continue to have a dream season and maybe take down, Twin Falls or Blackfoot. But that really is a tough draw. Valley View, Twin Falls, and Blackfoot.
The defending champ Valley Views, right?
Exactly.
They're the defending champs. They've been there. They played Wood River last year in the championship, the 1 and 2. The inside track is Wood River is really good too. The question is, did Wood River play a hard enough schedule to warrant a number 2 seed? I don't know. Mm-hmm. That was kind of some talk when I talked to some coaches, but yeah, tough draw. But hopefully, I'm gonna say I'm rooting for Blackfoot, the kind of the dark arts. I think I did this last year in soccer. I kind of rooted for Blackfoot.
Yeah. Well, and Blackfoot's trending. They're trending in their right. They're hitting their stride in the right moment. Right. They're peaking at the right moment, and really fast. Idaho Falls again. They maybe they peaked too soon, man. I don't know. But Blackfoot, they lost to them earlier in the season. They tied Idaho Falls, but they beat them now, and I think Blackfoot's really riding high. Watch Blackfoot. I like that pick, Sean. Watch Blackfoot to upset Twin Falls, and then maybe do something against Valley View and have a shot at getting to that championship game or even 3rd place. Yeah,
I would agree.
All right, that's 5A boys. Let's hit 4A boys with one of the, again, tale as old as time moment. Marsh Valley, number 8, number 5, Teton. Where is Sugar-Salem boys, Sean?
Oh man. It's tough. It's the same scenario that we had last year. Sugar, pretty much the undisputed number 1 boys team. Again, the same coach, Scott Terry, coaches the girls and boys team.
Right.
And you've got Teton lurking, a top team in the state as well, and you get to the district tournament and it's 1-1. Regulation ends, they go
and it's like, dude, it's happening again. It's the same thing.
It goes to shootout, and Teton secures the district championship for the second time in a row against the number 1 ranked team, 4-3. And and Scott Terry, I got to talk to him, and he's obviously the players are incredibly frustrated. They've proven through the season that they should be able to have an opportunity to get a shot at state. For 2 years now, that's been taken away, and he called it a poor system, and I would tend to agree
100%. We are on the East Idaho. We are with Scott Terry here on the East Idaho Prepcast. Terrible system.
And Scott said there's 3 or 4 teams that will be at state. We beat once or twice this season by multiple goals. He did say at the game it was extremely wet, and he doesn't blame it. And he said they play on turf, but since it was so wet, there was big puddles on the turf field, which I thought was interesting. I don't know if anyone else does, but I didn't even think about that. So he said that was tough conditions. You go to penalty kicks, and it is what it is. You can't find much more margins. He feels bad for the seniors because the last 2 years, they've had their eye on it. And I liked the quote from him is he feels like the regular season should mean more. And I tend to lean to that side as well. I feel like in other sports, your season matters, because in football you get at-large bids, right? That season matters. So hopefully, and I've always wondered why they didn't combine the 2 districts, right? And get to, I don't know, but that's always because they do in some things and they don't in others. But it's tough. But you have to congrats Teton, right? They win in PKs. Sometimes soccer comes down to that, which is hard to understand, right? You could have controlled the game the whole time and losing PKs, and it happens. And again, the bracket will totally change because of that, right? The number 1 team's gone, so basically everyone moves up a spot, and Teton's going to be the 5th seed against Sun Valley, which is again another team that typically is in that 1 or 2 spot, and hopefully Teton can get it done. But we also have Marsh Valley made it as well, 2-1 over American Falls, so pretty great there.
Yeah, and unfortunately, American Falls, who I thought could beat McCall Donnelly, lost to McCall Donnelly in the play-in. So American Falls is out. It's only Marsh Valley and Teton. I think Teton, Sean, again, we are East Idaho. We bend towards East Idaho in terms of our picks and stuff. We try to be fair, but I think Teton has a good shot of upsetting Sun Valley. And Marsh Valley, they're the 8th seed. I don't know if they can beat CDA Charter, but Teton, again, if you can take these teams late, if you can take a team like Sugar-Salem late into the game, get to PKs, you never know what will happen, which is why soccer is such a fun sport and a devastating sport, right? Because even if you are an 8th seed, if you can play stout defense and you're not totally focused, you're really focused on not making a mistake, and you get to PKs and anyone can win, which again is crazy fun, but like so stressful and miserable almost. And so it's this very interesting dichotomy in soccer. So I think because of that, Teton and Marsh Valley could have a chance, even though they're at the top of that bracket. It's a tough place to be with Charter and Sun Valley. They have a chance to make some noise, and Matt, hopefully they do. But looking forward to next year, as there's some changes coming afoot, right, Sean? We're going to have some playoff changes. There's going to be some 40% rule locked. We'll explain more of that in the offseason. But basically, these 2 teams will have more opportunities to get into the play-in game or get into the state, and we're not stuck on one team from the Mountain Rivers Conference having the only opportunity to get to state. So hopefully next year with changing of conferences, conference realignment happening once again, we can fix that.
Yeah, since all those teams moved up and down, right, that we talked about before.
Yep.
We'll have to reproportion and redo the reps, and we'll see what happens. But definitely a frustrating situation to be in. Yeah, and I don't like it. I mean, at least if we go back to 5A, at least Idaho Falls had 2 shots at it, right?
Exactly.
Idaho
Yes.
Falls didn't get the championship, but had another opportunity. And I know Scott pretty well, and I go, if you would have went Scott, you had 2 chances and Teton beat you twice. I think he goes, that's what it is, right?
Yeah.
I mean, but to come down to one game in a game like soccer where it's so tough, but that's how state is, right? I mean, even if you get there, the same thing could happen at state. You could play all well season and lose in PKs in the first round of state and be the number 1 ranked team. So I mean, I guess, the moral of the story, that's soccer.
Yep. Yeah, exactly, dude. And that is soccer. That's our soccer coverage for tonight. Good luck to all the East Idaho teams, especially those lower seeds. Maybe they can get a surprise, get to PK and do something against those higher seeds. And especially good luck to those East Idaho teams against the usually formidable Boise schools on 6A, 5A. Really, really hoping that they can show out against those Boise schools. And again, 4A boys going to be at Hawaii this Thursday, Friday, if I'm not mistaken. Yep, Thursday, Friday at Hawaii. Good luck to all of them. Want to remind everyone this show is brought to you by Ideal, a state-sponsored tax-advantaged savings plan that helps families pay for the cost of college. An Ideal 529 account can be used towards higher education, a trade school apprenticeship, or even student loan repayments. For more information, go to idsavings.org. All right, let's get rid of these brackets. Back to our beautiful faces. Hi, everyone. Sean Kane, Joel Richardson. Sean, let's finish tonight's show. I know there's volleyball districts going on. We're actually going to hit volleyball next week. Yeah. We'll do it just like we did tonight. We'll do a big volleyball show, go through all the state brackets, and talk about the biggest stories coming out of those district championships. So let's finish off with some football. Sean had a number of very, very interesting games. Ririe, North Fremont, Preston, Poky, and then Snake River, American Falls. Who do you want to hit first?
Oh, let's go. Let's get right. Let's just get nuclear. Let's talk about Ririe defeating North Fremont and becoming the new conference champs for the first time in 78 years. Now, I didn't have time today, but I didn't even know Ririe was a school for 78 years. That, I mean, can we fact check that? I know you and both Matt Harris, the AD of Ririe, have had a pretty busy week last week preparing for your college football game. So probably weren't even thinking about it, but
maybe I may have been a little bit preoccupied. 24-21, it wasn't that close, which I loved. Sorry, I got distracted. Continue.
But let's talk about it. I mean, it's interesting because Ryrie's put up pretty much 40 points or more every game, and they're held to 20, but their defense holds North Fremont to 0, which I think is actually the bigger story. Is I think everyone's talked about the running back. The Ryrie's offense has been explosive, but let's talk about not giving North Fremont, who's a team that's been explosive offensively, they held them to 0. I think that's the significant thing you come from this. So yeah, in a conference where every team is pretty much, has one loss or whatever, 1-2 losses, and Ririe none now. You're going to still probably see maybe 2 or 3 teams out of this conference. But we spent so much time talking about the other conference in 3A, right? Aberdeen, right. West Side. We've spent, countless hours on this podcast about these teams, and we don't always really, get into the Nuke, but the Nuke is on the map now, and it's going to be fun to see what Ririe does with this. I think that's what you've got to look at. They haven't done this before, right? This isn't where they've been. They aren't a West Side. West Side's like, oh yeah, we've won another title. We've done these things. This is new ground for Ririe. It'll be interesting to me to see how the coaches, the players respond to being now in the spotlight. Now you're the team people want to beat, right? It should just be phenomenal to watch to see what unfolds as we head into the last week of football and the playoffs.
Ryrie's been a school, Sean, since 1906, so it's 119 years old. So there's your fact check. I was doing some research while you were giving us that nuke conference rundown. So yeah, first time in 78 years of the 119 years in existence for Ririe. Massive season. And Sean, you said it, dude. Massive win against North Fremont, blanking a very good Huskies team, 20-0. Now, Ririe didn't score as much as they have. They beat Aberdeen 20-8 looking at their schedule, but most of their games, Sean, 40+ points, except for 2 games. Aberdeen, really good Tigers team, obviously, and North Fremont, very good Huskies team. But still, they're able to hang double-digit scores on those teams.
And we got to shout out Coulter Lewis of Ririe. He rushed for all 3 touchdowns, 26 carries, $196 in yards. So Mr. Lewis was the offense for Ririe on the ground, which is a team that's also been throwing the ball pretty well. But yeah, Coulter Lewis, got to shout him out. He had a phenomenal game against North Fremont.
Indeed. So congrats to Ririe beating North Fremont. Their last game is against Salmon this week, and then it's playoff time. And like you said, Ririe for the first time in forever, they have the target on their backs. And it's going to be interesting how they can handle all that pressure. All right, Sean, no mention of my singing. I'm a little bit disappointed.
I was just hoping we could move on.
Okay, moving on. Preston beats Poky, Sean, at Lookout Field for the first time in 20 years. Again, Preston's beat Poky in the past, but the first time in 20 years at Lookout, well, at Pocatello's home stadium, wherever that was, now currently at Lookout Field. For the first time in 20 years, Preston beats Poky. Poky still has a chance for the district championship against Century, but we'll get to that in a second. I was at the game broadcasting it actually by myself, Sean. My son was running the camera, and I was play-by-play and color guy. Very interesting game to be at. I figured it was going to be low scoring. I also thought maybe the offenses would just go kind of hog wild, but that was not the case at all. It was mostly defense, tons of turnovers. Preston defense was actually the players of the game, forcing, I think it was 3 turnovers, a number of fourth down stops, and holding Poky to very few points, and in the end getting that win, which begs the question: what does Poky do now? Frankly, Poky hasn't been in this situation a lot, Sean, in the last years. Poky's either been kind of right there, 2 or 3, 4 seed. Poky's on the outside looking in. They're not in the playoffs. They might not make the playoffs this year. And again, it's really only your fault in 5A if you don't make the playoffs.
Yeah, I would agree. And, obviously I was at the Skyline Highland game, and
right.
Defensive player McKay Gallo got 2 interceptions, and he got player of the game. So it was a defensive East Idaho game night for sure. But I was following along with that game, and just to me, not seeing any points scored was kind of mind-boggling to me. Mm-hmm. I thought Poky would throw the ball, get touchdowns, Preston would run the ball and eat up the clock, but I still thought it would have been a big scoring game. But yeah, you're right. Pocatello is definitely on the outside looking in. If they win, even if they win Friday, if they beat, so essentially the district championship comes down to Friday night at Diamondback Field, Century Pocatello.
Yep.
Even if Poky won, the tiebreaker is common opponent, which would be Preston, which Century beat, and then Max Preps after that. So even if it was the 3-way dance, which I alluded to could happen last week, Century would still win the district championship, as far as I understand it. So,
yeah, there's no sharing of the title then.
No, and so I don't. And even if Pocatello won, I don't think that would, because Century's max prep is down to 10 after they win, and it goes down to 10, which again doesn't make sense to me. But they go down to 10, so even if Pocatello wins, Century would still be the district champion and would move into a spot. But I don't know if Pocatello would have enough. Preston plays Snake River to end the season, and we'll get to them in just a second because it's a good lead-in. But that becomes a crucial game, because I think if Preston could beat a Snake River, Preston will be in the mix of that, 15, 16 spot, maybe. Let me get my side rule calculator out.
Well, Pocatello, right now they're ranked 20, Sean, 20 out of 23, I think it is, so 22 teams. Below them is Skyview, Idaho Falls, Pocatello 1-6. They had a ton of injuries this year. They're playing with a sophomore quarterback who actually is he's going to be good, I think, in years to come. He's still a sophomore. He's still learning. So Pocatello, they're likely not going to make it. And even a win against Century, I don't think gets them into that top 16 as they are ranked 20. And then Preston, I didn't check where Preston was. Hold on. Preston's number 17, so they're just outside the top 16. So Preston needs to beat Snake River, who did a really good job this past weekend. So so I talked to Preston's head coach, Coach Reese. He said, we got to win our game tonight, but we're going to need some help from our opponents that we've beat and lost to. And then next week, he alluded to that we're going to need some help from Snake River, whether we beat them or lose to them. And Snake River did their thing, Sean.
Yeah, and that's the thing. So the week before Snake River, and I think this kind of went undersold, they only lost to Westside by 1 point. Now, I think that's something in the back of everyone's mind you got to think about. Westside, you only lose by 1 point. You definitely have an opportunity to win the game. And then this week, they go to American Falls. I would say a heavily favored American Falls team. And they beat American Falls, and it's on a last-second kick. Cash Hendricks drills a 21-yard field goal with 12 seconds left, and that score was 17-14. The Panthers clinched that East Idaho Conference for the fourth straight year. They're 4-4, and if you look at their schedule, it's kind of interesting. They're 2-0 in conference. They got the conference title, and they're 7th in max preps, but we got to give some love to Snake River, playing probably the best 4-4 team in any classification that I can think of right off the top of my head. But a team that they need to win, beat Preston, I think, as much as Preston needs to beat them. And it's the end of the season, and obviously it's cross classification, and we kind of talked about this when we broadcast against Skyline Highland. Like, how do you navigate that towards the end of the season, right? Mm-hmm. How much is it going to matter?
Yeah. Do you play your starters? Do you play a lot of your starters? Some of them.
Yeah. And when is the game? When are we still? There's so much that goes into it. I think for Preston, it's a must. They're going to have to play and win that game to have any sort of chance at a playoff spot, and maybe some people lose. For Snake River, they're going to be in a playoff position no matter what. But I think they'd like to end the season, 5-4 rather than 4-5. And maybe it doesn't matter. Maybe Snake River's like, Snake River was a good team last year, riddled with injuries. They had one of the best players names of all time, Johnny Walker, on their team last year, receiver, big guy, do it all. So if you're Snake River, you don't want anyone hurt. You don't want that coming back. But we had to give some love to Snake River. And what they've been able to do and playing so close to Westside really stood out to me, and I'm really excited. It makes that, and usually Preston and Snake River play every year, but it makes this game this Friday so many implications.
Yeah, 100%. And these are actually future opponents, right, Sean? I think they'll be playing in the same conference next year.
Yeah. Well, yeah. We'll Preston moved down. I don't have any for certainty what conference they'll be in. But some of those things are coming through and getting done. It's kind of like deals, right? They go and make the deal to get into the conference. And
that's right.
We'll see where it pans out. It would make sense if they were in that conference geographically, but geographically, sense isn't always what Idaho does.
No, it's not. And you wonder if is there a buyout for the SCIC, right? for Preston to leave the 5A SCIC. Snake River, Sean, there isn't, by the way, folks. Snake River is number 7 in max preps. They're behind Beale, Weiser, Kimberly, Homedale, and of course Sugar-Salem. And number 1, Fruitland. They have that University of Utah commit, and their coach is actually University of Utah alum. I saw that special it was like a BYU something in anticipation for the BYU Utah game. And I honestly, this is probably, I shouldn't share this because it shows how ignorant I am, but I didn't know Fruitland's coach was the Utah alum. But BYU did a little thing on them this past week. And so really cool that their University of Utah head coach has coached up this now future University of Utah offensive. I think he's offensive lineman for Fruitland. Anyway, so Fruitland's 1, Sugar 2, Homedale 3, all the way down to Snake River 7. Man, if I'm Snake River, I'm going for it, Sean. I want to beat Preston, a potentially future conference opponent, kind of show them who we are, right? And then, it probably improves your stock because, Preston, it may not, well, I think because Preston's 5A, I don't know if that, we don't know what Max Prep's, the algorithm really does. But does a higher classification help at all? If you beat someone from a higher classification?
I can't remember. But
probably not.
But I think, though, Sugar blew out Preston. So if you can take care of Preston by a good margin, then I think you at least know, okay, we can be on par with a Sugar, right?
Yeah.
So as far as that goes, I think that's what's important to think about. I think it mostly has to do with just the strength of schedule. So they can be an upper division, but if their strength of schedule is bad, it doesn't really matter. I think it all has to do with that, who they've beaten, right? If they've beaten good teams, that helps you. If they haven't beaten good teams, but they're in upper classification, I don't think it helps you that much.
Yeah. So maybe, and look, we're armchairing quarterback on Monday night at 9:21 p.m. But in our armchairs, I'll say if I'm Snake River, I'm going hard in the first half. If things aren't working out, I'm pulling, I know it's 4A. Can you pull the starters? Maybe you can't because if you pull your starters, you have freshmen, playing. But if you can, I think you pull, if Preston's running away with it, pull them and let's get ready for the playoffs. But if I'm Preston, I got to go hard all the way to make sure I win that game to get into the playoffs. As like we said, they are just on the outside. Preston is. So congrats to Snake River. Phenomenal second half of the season, and I guess we should say quietly phenomenal season, as we haven't talked about Snake River all year, but they go in, they beat American Falls, and they win the 4A SCIC. Awesome job. And now they're 7th in Max Preps. Good job there. Sean, we're gonna be this Friday.
I'll be at the Century Pocatello game, but cool. I don't think I'll be broadcasting.
Okay, just watching as a Century teacher, coach.
Just be there. I mean, if the weather goes bad, I will go up in the booth and watch, I think.
Yeah, that's fair. That's totally fair. But you have that luxury.
Yeah, I'll just be there as a fan. I seldom enjoy games as a fan. You kind of forget that sometimes broadcasting, and it's fun to sometimes just go to a high school football game.
Right on. I'll be at Grace, Butte County at Grace. Looking forward to that one. Grace is dominating this year behind Travis Draper. Their quarterback Draper, and then his dad. I think that's Travis Draper, head coaching, also being the AD. It's been a great season for Grace. Butte County has taken a pretty big step back. Really, they lost Archibald, and it's been really hard for them to overcome the loss of Keaton Archibald. But Butte County has won one game. They beat Shoshone a few weeks back. However, you never know. It's a rivalry game. Let's go crazy. Let's go wild, and maybe Butte County can upset Grace. But Grace having a good season. But will be fun to get back to Grace and broadcast that game for IdahoSports.com. That's Sean Kane. I'm Joel Richardson saying be excellent to each other. Have a great have a great week, a great work week. Enjoy the games, the soccer tournament games this weekend, this Thursday, Friday, Saturday, and then volleyball districts and state. We'll be hitting that up next Monday. Stand by, stay tuned, and we'll hit that next time on the East Idaho Prepcast on IdahoSports.com.